Ant-Man is the new Marvel standalone movie directed by Edgar Wright. Whoops, it's actually directed by Peyton Reed because of creative differences Marvel and Edgar Wright had, so they got Peyton Reed to do it. And what this movie's about is this guy named Scott Lang. He's a burglar, but he wants to do better. He wants to put that life behind him so he can be with his daughter, but he can't because he has a record, he has a past, and he can't get a job because of it. He can't pay child support, so he can't visit his daughter. But Scott is given a second chance by Michael Douglas to be a hero, to be the Ant-Man. And what Michael Douglas wants is to take down Darren Cross. And Darren Cross is kind of obsessed with creating the Ant-Man formula because he's had theories about the Ant-Man existing for a very long time. And when he's close to making his own style of Ant-Man suit, Michael Douglas wants to stop it. And it's up to Scott Lang to do it, because he's the Ant-Man now, woo! So I wasn't really excited going into this movie. I was like, oh, Ant-Man, that's gonna be good, it's got Marvel. And that's pretty much it. I was excited for Ultron, excited for Guardians, and Winter Soldier. This movie, I was just like, alright, let's go see Ant-Man. And I'm really bummed that I thought that at first, because this movie was fantastic. I was honestly really surprised by how much I actually loved this movie. It is now in my top 5 Marvel films. If you go on my Instagram, JacksonFulcher2000, you'll see a post of my top 5 Marvel movies. Go there. The acting in this movie is really good. Paul Rudd as Scott Lang was really good in this movie. You understood his struggle. You liked him. When he couldn't visit his daughter, you felt kind of sad for him. He was just a really great character. But Michael Douglas kind of steals the show because he is really good in this movie. Whenever he and Paul Rudd bounce off each other, it's actually really good. You actually kind of feel a connection there, and that's really good because Michael Douglas is kind of Paul Rudd's mentor in a way in this movie. And Hope Van Dyne, played by Evangeline Lilly, Michael Douglas's daughter, she was really good in this movie. All 3 of them had really great chemistry, and it really worked because they are the majority of the movie. If their chemistry doesn't fit, if it doesn't seem like they want to be in the same room as this actor, then it's not going to work, but it actually really worked out in the end. But hands down, the funniest part of this movie was Michael Pena as Scott Lang's friend. He was hilarious. He was awesome. He had the funniest jokes in the whole movie, the biggest laughs. He was the best part, one of the best parts. And yes, the humor in this movie really works. It was directed by Edgar Wright originally, so I kind of knew this was going to have a lot of comedy, and then you got a comedy director to take over for Edgar Wright. Yeah, it's going to be filled with laughs, especially from Scott Lang's other friends, his crew, if you will. Those guys worked well together, and they were funny. They brought some of the biggest laughs, but not as big as Michael Pena, because he's Michael frickin' Pena, and he was hilarious. The action scenes in this movie are fantastic. Like, seeing Ant-Man shrink down or like running and punching a guy at small speed and seeing him go big to small to big to small was so much fun to watch. I had a lot of fun watching the action scenes in this movie. I felt invested and I wanted him to succeed, and that's the best kind, when you're involved with the action and you don't want your hero to die. Unlike some action movies like Terminator Genesis, where they can't even make some good action scenes because they feel so bland. Blech. This movie actually sells the action. It really works, especially the train sequence. Like, when they're on the toy train with Thomas the Tank Engine, that was hilarious. And the CGI in this movie actually looked really good, especially when you see him shrink down or when he's fighting Yellow Jacket. Oh, speaking of which, the suits look really cool. I saw the Ant-Man suit and I was like, okay, that looks pretty cool. Then after the movie, I was like, man, that was really cool. And then the Yellow Jacket suit looked really cool. And when you see these two kind of punch each other in the face and fight, it was really fun to watch, especially when they're really small. One scene happens, I'm not going to spoil it, but they go really small in some area, and they fight in that area. It was funny. You'll understand what I'm talking about when you see it. But speaking of the Yellow Jacket, this is where we're going to lead into our flaws. I don't have very many. Corey Stoll as the villain. He was good in this movie as Darren Cross, but the thing is, his character feels kind of wasted. There are some moments where you could actually see the obsession in his eyes and in his performance, and I think, yes, explore this, but then they really don't. They just cut away to him, like, yelling or something, or shrinking down a lamb. Oh no! And it's not a terrible Marvel villain. Ronan was bland, the Mandarin wasn't even a villain, Malekith was bland, Corey Stoll as the Yellow Jacket wasn't necessarily bland, he was just a wasted potential. This guy was supposed to be obsessing over Michael Douglas's work on the Ant-Man suit for many, many years. But they really waste that potential. There could have been some interesting dialogue between him and Douglas, but whenever they're in the room, it's kind of like very weird talk, you know, like very quick, kind of menacing, but kind of not dialogue. And that didn't really work out in the end because he was just kind of wasted. Yeah, he was cool in the Yellow Jacket suit, but overall, And Scott Lang's daughter and her parents, I understand Scott Lang's daughter is there to be motivation for him to do better. I understand that. But there was one section where they weren't in the movie for a very, very long time, and I just completely forgot about them. And then he sees his daughter again. I'm like, oh, right, there's a daughter in this movie, and she has parents too. Oh, whoops, I forgot about you for a second. I'm sorry. That was my bad. And I don't think that was really a good thing in the end, because you don't really want to forget about what's motivating Scott Lang. And before I end this review, there are two end credit scenes, one in the middle and one at the end, and I won't spoil them, but let's just say one of them has something to do with a future Marvel movie that's coming out very soon, actually. Really soon. You could say it's like Avengers 3, except not Avengers 3. You probably already know what I'm talking about. Whoops. So I'm gonna give Ant-Man an A-. I really love this movie. I loved it more than I thought it would, despite the villain being kind of wasted and forgetting about the family, because that part was very forgettable. I had a blast. The chemistry between all the characters worked. The acting was great. The action scenes were fun, and the CGI was really good. Even though I kind of wish Edgar Wright was still there, because I think the editing would have been quicker, like in typical Edgar Wright fashion. I think that would have been a really great Marvel movie. But oh well. But you know what? Peyton Reed did a great job with this movie anyways, and I salute him. But if you have seen Ant-Man, leave in the comments below what you thought of it. And this weekend, I'm going to be celebrating my birthday, kind of, because it's on a Monday and I'm going to my dad's later today and stuff, so I'm not going to be able to do my 500 subscribers special video for you guys, but after my birthday, on like a Tuesday, Tuesday, I will be filming it, and I will be editing it, and I'll be uploading it. It might be a long video, because it's a certain kind of video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.